Morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Tuesday, June the 2nd. Overall markets end up having a nice bounce yesterday off that previous day lows on both the SPY and the Qs. SMH moving nicely here in the pre-market. Some semis end up having a nice bounce yesterday as well. Nvidia was one of the main things we watched coming into yesterday on the daily chart. This one is flipping back bullish, really all-time highs. A lot of room back towards the upside. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a good trading day. What's up, Andy? Good morning, B Roots, Victor, J Tan, Jean. Good morning, Maria. What's up, Martin? Gerald. Good morning, Lamit, Cinna, Vate. What's up, everyone? Joe. Yeah, we can talk about HPE. What's up, Knight? Robert, Wakey. Good morning, Nick. Aaron. What's up, Monty? Bobby. As hopefully I not pronounce that one right. Julius, Stefan, Hector. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me pull up the economic calendar and we will get started. Okay, so coming into today, not too much red folder news. The main thing, as I mentioned, a lot of the red folder news events that we've had hasn't really impacted or haven't had a significant impact on the market. Jolt's opening, that's going to be at 10 a.m. Sometimes it's red folder news. In this case, right now, it's currently an orange folder news. Normally speaking, Jolt's job opening doesn't really have a huge impact. And then tomorrow we have ADP non-farm enrollment change. It's going to be at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, ISM services. And then on Thursday, unemployment. And then Friday, we have unemployment rate plus the average hourly earnings month over month. Let's pull up the earnings calendar here as well. There are a couple notable earnings to keep an eye out for. Yesterday, where HPE, we had Hive. HPE had a really solid higher time frame setup, gapping up. I think it's about 20-30%. We have a couple other ones to keep an eye out for. AVGO, mentioned this one, was a big one coming to this week, breaking above our all-time highs. What are the main things to keep an eye out for coming into this week? Talked about that one on the weekend, and this one is currently up 6% in the pre-market. So we'll keep an eye on that one coming into earnings. We have a couple other ones, CrowdStrike, and as you can see, a couple other ones, maybe like ChargePoint and a few other tickers to keep in mind. But yeah, with that being said, let's head on to some of the charts that we have coming to today. Starting off with, of course, the major indices. Let me grab some water here really quick as well. Okay, let's head on to the major indices. We already know what the weekly and the daily time frame look like. Let's head on to the 1 hour chart. So for the Qs, the key levels that we have marked out coming into yesterday happened to be that 736. I ended up readjusting the level. It was kind of right down in towards that 736 and 735. But the overall thesis was if Qs can maintain above our previous day lows, we can look for continuation towards the upside. If we break underneath, hold underneath that 736, potentially you can see it push down in towards that 730. Coming into market open, you can see we're building up higher lows here on the hourly time frame. Now we just like to see the overall markets maintain above this 740 for a push up in towards our previous day highs. Another possible scenario now above our previous day highs for that continued push here as well. We could see a potential pullback here, but shorts, in my opinion, are only in play underneath that 735. Right, is this a potential short scenario you can be looking for underneath our 740? It is in play, but I'll be very cautious. I'd much rather wait for at least a minimum of a break of structure here on the hourly time frame if we do want to go look for some downside. So key levels 741, which happens to be our Friday's highs. We have multiple touches here as well. If we look at the NQ chart and go into the hourly time frame, you can see nice break and retest all the way at our 29,700. Yesterday and the day previous, you can see a couple bounces right off that 3,300, which just happens to be our high that we created here from last week. Now for the NQ, what do we like to see? We just like to see it maintain above this 3,300 and now build up higher lows here on the hourly time frame. So I like to see the overall markets maintain above are 3,500 coming into market open. As long as you can maintain above that, we have a couple scenarios that we're going to be looking for. The bounce play here off our 3,500. Another possible scenario is now going to be the break above our previous day highs for a continuation higher here as well. You can also see we end up having a move in the overnight session. So this is basically where the market closed at. We actually came back down for the retest once again. So coming to market open, now I just like to see that higher low be built or longs above our previous day highs. If you go into the SPY chart, key levels coming into market open here today. If I get rid of the drawings, you can see higher lows and the structure is being maintained on the daily chart. It's also being maintained on the hourly chart as well. Key level is the 754. You can see buyers stepped in right off our previous day lows yesterday. So for the SPY coming to market open here today, still valid as long as you can maintain above that 754. I'd like to see really just higher lows be built, as I mentioned here on the hourly time frame. If you go into the 15-minute time frame, key levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day lows, 754 as I mentioned, and we also have our 758. If we do want to see continuation higher above our 758, another possible scenario above our previous day highs for continuation. As for the ES, let's go on to the hourly time frame. You can see the structure is being maintained on the hourly time frame. So you can see this is our previous level of resistance. You can just kind of draw this general area, multiple touches. Now we like to see this turn into support for a continuation back towards the upside. Very similar to what it did back here, right? We had that nice pop, consolidation right above our key retest level, and then we end up having that push higher. Similar thing, pop, now we're having that consolidation. Now we like to see this push higher back towards the upside. Key levels that we have coming into market open is going to be our previous day lows. Other levels that we have marked out is our 7,600. So coming to market open, you can see some buyers stepped in yesterday, some buyers stepped in the pre-market as well. If you want to see continuation back above our 7,600, another possible scenario now above our previous day highs. If we come all the way back down in towards our previous day lows, then we could be looking for our previous day low bounce here as well off our 75.70. Shorts are only in play. I like shorts underneath our 75.70. That would be our break of structure here on the hourly time frame. Before then, not as interested in trying to short, right, our 76.10 or maybe short off our previous day highs. I would only be interested if you can get underneath our previous day lows. As I mentioned, that would be the break of structure on the hourly. All right, now let's talk about the SMH. As you can see, the weekly's bullish, the daily's bullish. The daily chart was consolidating the past couple of sessions, but now you can see we're breaking above our previous all-time highs. Now we just like to see continuation back towards the upside. So for the SMH coming into market open, key levels that we have marked out is going to be our previous day highs, which happen to be our all-time highs. Other levels that we can have marked out here now as well is now going to be this pre-market high, which is our all-time highs in the pre-market. So coming to market open, really the main levels for the SMH today. NVIDIA is bouncing here as well. So a couple of the semis are starting to bounce. Previous day high retest, maintain a long bias above, maintain a long bias on the semiconductors above 612 on the SMH. Above our pre-market highs, continuation back towards the upside here as well. So the semis are starting to show some strength. NVIDIA end up having a really solid bounce right above our previous day highs, which we'll talk about. And you can see a lot of the semis, a couple of the semis are bouncing here. All right, with that being said, I'm gonna head on to some tech names here now as well. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. Okay, let's head on to Tesla and then I will head on to a few other tickers here. Tesla, as I mentioned, kind of in between the right, kind of in between the middle of the range that we've had marked out for this year, right? Our yearly highs along with our yearly lows. We're closer to the middle of the range. So as I mentioned, Tesla, you just want to be a little bit more cautious until we can break above 450. Right, we'll not talk about Tesla as much. Right, 450 is going to be key. So until we break above, then we're gonna be a little bit more patient. You can be looking for day trades in this general area for longs and shorts, but if we're talking about the big momentum move on the higher time frames, above our 450. So if we go into lower time frames, key levels that we have marked out: previous day lows. That was our key level yesterday. We potentially look for a previous day low short underneath our 430. Nice push all the way back down in towards that 415. If we look at this here on the hourly time frame, not as clear. So you just want to be a little bit more patient here on Tesla. If we can potentially get back above, it's going to be that 420 at a minimum, right? Maybe you can see some upside, but Tesla now is more consolidating than anything. So I'll be a little bit more patient on this one. Just keep an eye on that previous day lows along with your previous day highs. So previous day highs and then previous day lows here, which happens to be that 416. So for Tesla, potential 416 bounce coming into market open. One of my main watches coming into this week was Nvidia, higher time frame, right at a key level. We talked about this weekly break and retest. So this one's shaping up very nicely here on Nvidia. Nice buyer stepping in off this 210. What we now like to see is this continuation back up in towards our all-time highs. Nvidia is one of my favorite tickers. A couple names that have been lagging the overall markets, right? Nvidia, we had like TSM, we had AVGO, right? These ones move nicely. Obviously, these ones are the biggest market caps when it comes to the semiconductor, so they haven't moved as much compared to, right, really the overall markets. But for NVIDIA, AVGO, right, TSM, all those very similar setups, in my opinion, for a move back up and towards our all-time highs and continuation. So for NVIDIA, you can see buyers are stepping in. Right off a key level, we had this nice break, retest, continuation. So now we like to see this push back up in towards our all-time highs here. So for Nvidia coming into market open, strong daily candle close, back above its previous candle high. Now the key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be our previous day highs, which is our 224. So yesterday we just went from our earnings low. Let's actually mark this out once again. So we had our earnings low, which happens to be our 218. Next level above our earnings low, above our previous day highs, was this earnings high, which happens to be our 226. So now you can see nice little pop here in the pre-market. We're now above our 226. So what we like to see is really maintain above our 226 for a potential move all the way back up in towards our all-time highs. So what we like to keep an eye out for on NVIDIA today is really maintain above this 226. If we can do that, push up in towards our 230 and potentially that all-time highs is in play. If we break back underneath, right, we can potentially kind of like build a higher low on the hourly time frame, really above that 218. So I personally like the either the 218 bounce if it came all the way back down or just maintain above that 226. So if we want to look for that previous day high hold today, that's solid for continuation higher. If it drops right underneath that 226, comes back down, then we're going to be looking for the reclaim later into the session for a pushback up and towards that 230 and above. Regardless on Nvidia, right, we are going to eventually see that push back up in towards our all-time highs, right? It could happen today or tomorrow, or it can just kind of consolidate and then continue back towards the upside. But Nvidia, right, fairly bullish yesterday. A lot of buyers stepped in. We'll keep an eye on that 226 along with that previous day highs coming to market open. AMD daily's bullish, right? Kind of bouncing right off that 480 along with that 9. As you can see, hourly higher low is now being built so far, consolidating more the past couple sessions. What we like to see here now on AMD is the continuation above our previous day highs for a move back up and towards our all-time high. So for AMD, you can see nice push higher, consolidation. Now we just like to see the break above our previous day highs or now the break above our all-time highs for continuation. It could also come back down once again and have another bounce play for a continuation higher here as well. At least for AMD, the key levels that you're going to keep an eye out on is going to be that 488, which as you can see, nice buyer step in yesterday. Other levels that you're going to have marked out previous day highs, 516 for continuation higher. Apple, not really too much to talk about on this one. Consolidation broke underneath our 310, so a little bit more weaker price action. Seems like we're going to come back down for a daily. It seems like we're going to come back down for a daily break and retest, offer 300 for continuation towards the upside. Google had some news. It seems like now we're going to come all the way back down in towards this daily gap. So had some news yesterday dropping here in the pre-market. Google next best buying opportunity is going to be offered 350. So this is a really good area for Google now. We broke underneath a couple key areas or a couple key levels, which is our 380. Next level happened to be our 360 along with this 350. So for Google, let's just mark out a couple key areas here. We can mark out that previous retest, and then we can also mark out our gaps. So for Google, coming into market open here, you can see we had some news in the after hours, dropping this towards the downside. Next level is going to be all the way back down in towards 350. We'll see if any buyers want to step in today, right off this 360 area, potentially have some buyers step in for this reversal trade, or we're going to see a bounce all the way back down in towards that 350 for continuation higher. So keep this in, keep an eye out on Google, offer 360 or the 350 full gap fill on the higher time frames. As for Microsoft, key levels that we have marked out was that 460 and that full daily gap that we had marked out yesterday. So we end up having a nice pop in the pre-market, followed up by a couple of rejections, more so consolidation yesterday. And now we're dropping here in the pre-market back down in towards our high that we created here on Friday. So for Microsoft, it seems like now if we're basing this on the daily chart, we could see a potential retest all the way back down in towards that 430. Not something that's something that could be very much well set here on the daily time frame. So you can see daily higher lows are being built. There's room all the way back down in towards 430 on the daily chart and still be bullish for a daily higher low. I personally like to just see it maintain above this daily gap fill. So I like to see buyers kind of step in, offer Friday's highs, and push this back towards the upside. So for Microsoft today, key levels that I have marked out is going to be really just this level right here. 450, you could do a little bit of an undershoot or sorry, an overshoot and still be bullish. As you can see, this is also our first pullback here as well. So after this breakout on Microsoft, we're having nice continuation higher. Now the key levels that we have marked out, 450. I like to see if a daily higher low, or sorry, an hourly higher low can be set above our 450 for a move back up in towards potentially that previous day lows today. So I'd like to see if buyers can step in here, offer 450 for continuation back up and towards that 460. So keep that in mind keep an eye out for Microsoft today, back above 450, room back up and towards that 460 here. As for Meta, this one kind of broke outside this range that we had drawn out. Nice retest, but ultimately failed, and now we're right back inside the range. Not really too much to see here on the daily time frame. As you can see, the daily time frame along with Tesla has not been as clear on Meta. As for Amazon, this one, nice hold on the weekly time frame. It seems like we're going to come back down once again on Amazon after not hitting that all-time highs area. So we are just going to come back down into a couple key levels of support here. As for Amazon, the key levels that I have marked out really is this earnings range, high and low. As you can see so far, we've just not been able to break outside this earnings all the way back from May of this year. So a little bit more cautious, nothing really too much to talk about on Amazon. Netflix, similar thing, right? Not too much to talk about. Ever since we had earnings earlier in April of this year, this one has just been in a downtrend on the daily chart. And then as you can see, right after filling its gap, this one hasn't done too much. So we won't really talk about too much tech names. The MiG 7, my favorite, is Nvidia back towards the upside. So we'll continue to focus on that. And there's a lot of other names that look a lot better, specifically on the higher time frames. All right, with that being said, let me go on to a couple more names here now as well. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can drop them on in the chat. Let me go over IWM. Someone's mentioning IWM. Key levels for IWM is this daily break and retest. So as you can see, nice break, retest, continuation. Now we like to see this level hold 287.50, continuation towards the upside. So for IWM, this is basically our exact area, right? 288. You can see nice buyer stepping yesterday. If you're basing this off of the daily time frame, this is the way to go. So keep an eye out on this daily break and retest. You can see nice lower wick right off our 280. Filled this gap here as well. Let's see if we can get that push back up in towards our all-time highs here on the IWM. All right, let's take a look at AVGO. AVGO has earnings this week. One of my favorite, one of my watches coming to this week here as well. Break and retest above our 400 key psych for a continuation towards the upside. If we look at this on the daily time frame, nice consolidation. We're now finally starting to break out. Now let's see if we can get that continue push back towards the highs. Key levels that we have marked out on AVGO, of course, is our 440. Other levels like our 450 here as well. And you can see nice break and retest really right above that previous day high. So AVGO yesterday, nice break in the pre-market, retest that previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. Now you can see we're getting a pop in the after hours, also in the pre-market as well. Key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be our pre-market highs. We have our previous day highs, which is very far away. And now we can mark out our after hours highs in case we want to see a potential pullback long. So for AVGO, at least today, we are a little bit farther away from that previous day highs. Longs above our pre-market highs, continuation, or potentially could come back down in towards that after hours highs for that pushback towards the upside here as well. So that's what we have for AVGO. This one looks very bullish. Of course, this one does have earnings coming up. So now it doesn't make too much sense to trade, most likely today or tomorrow if you weren't positioned either earlier last week or even yesterday, right? With this gap up, IV is going to be a little bit more elevated. Plus, we're closer to that 500 key cycle level. Let's go into Oracle. Oracle, really solid break here as well. Kind of breaking out of this downtrend, nice continuation towards the upside. Right now, we are dropping a little bit here in the pre-market after being up a solid 3 days in a row. You can see yesterday, nice previous day high retest again for continuation. Right now, we're most likely going to consolidate a little bit more, potentially now make this like hourly flag pattern and then continue higher. So for Oracle, key levels, as you can see, nice break and retest right off that previous day highs. Key levels now, previous day highs along with our previous day lows. Other levels, we can mark out that pre-market highs from yesterday, which happens to be that 235. For Oracle, what I'd like to see here today is really the maintain above our 235. That's going to be our hourly higher low for continuation towards the upside. So I'd like to see a little bit more consolidation, maintain above that 235, and then continue back towards the upside like this here on Oracle. So key levels is going to be that 235 coming to market open. Palantir, this one looks solid as well, right into the top of the range. So key levels that we have for Palantir, 160 and our 130 went from the low of the range to the top of the range. Now for Palantir, we just like to see a daily higher low be set for, of course, continuation up and towards our 160 and above. If we look at this on the hourly time frame, as you can see, nice little sellers kind of stepping in right above our 160. But as you can see, nice continuation higher. Right now, what we like to see is really just maintain above this 155 If we break underneath it, we can see a potential flip here on the hourly time frame. But if we can maintain above this 155, I'd say the market structure on the hourly time frame would still be set, right? That would be an hourly higher low for continuation higher. So key levels, we can just mark out our previous day lows, and we can also mark out our really this consolidation that we had from Friday. So for Palantir, I'd like to see that previous day low reclaim for a push back up and towards that 160 and above. MU continue to push towards the upside. Every dip so far is being bought up. Yesterday, key level was at 980, potential break and retest. This one just moved higher right off the bat, so the pre-market highs was valid. Other levels today is going to be our previous day highs. So for MU, maintain a long bias above previous day highs or maintain above that 1020 for continuation. SNDK, similar thing, end up having that previous day high break and retest. Intel continue to show some weakness here. So Intel, right here on the daily time frame, we are in a key spot, but there's not really a rush to go and buy Intel if you're trading options. If you're trading shares, right, this is a good area, which is that 105. As I mentioned, we recently broke outside of this wedge pattern. Key levels that we have, as you can see, dropping towards the downside. Right now, we're right at our 105. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be this daily potential double bottom. So as you can see here for Intel, this will be our daily chart. This is also our daily higher low. So break, as you can see, nice consolidation. We're actually coming back down. We like to see it maintain above this 104. If we can maintain above this 104, continuation back towards the upside. If we break underneath, that's going to be that daily higher low. So that's going to be really key on Intel. If we break underneath, that's not going to be as good, at least on the daily time frame. So that's why we like to see some buyers step in off this like 104 slash like 105 general area. As you can see, this is kind of our key level support that we have marked out. So for Intel, potentially we can see a little bit of a drop, but we like to see buyers step in, revert, and reverse this back towards the upside here. So the key levels is going to be our previous day lows and kind of this general area. As I mentioned, we just like to see it maintain above that previous day lows for continuation back towards the upside. So that's what we have for Intel. This one, as I mentioned, is going to take a little bit longer to kind of consolidate. Right now, we just want to be a little bit more patient until we can show any sort of bullish price action. And then we're going to look to take this back up and towards the highs. As for WDC, nice kind of break and retest here on the daily, continuation back towards the upside. TSM has been looking solid here as well, right? Weekly break and retest, very similar to AVGO. Talked about this a couple weeks ago, but nice break and retest on TSM above our 380 for continuation towards the upside. So this one's shaping up nicely here on the daily time frame. If we look at any other tickers, Hood, little bit of reaction off our 92. We like to see it above our 92 for that continuation up and towards our gap fill and above. Couple cool things. I saw that Hood was coming to Canada. That was an announcement yesterday, which is pretty exciting for some Canadians. As for a few other tickers, SoFi shaping up nicely here. Next level on SoFi after filling its daily gap is going to be back up and towards our 20 key psych. We like to see it above our previous day highs for any sort of continuation back towards the upside. Dell, this one's continuing to push higher. Key levels that we have marked out. Yesterday, Dell ended up breaking out. We talked about an after earnings push, very similar to something like AMD. AMD consolidated an extra day and then formed this flag pattern. As for Dell, this one just showed a lot of strength. So Dell above our previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. So as you can see, key levels for Dell was our 430, nice previous day high retest for continuation, immediate right off the bat. And then we also had our after hours highs along with that earnings high, nice retest, now continuation. For Dell, key levels, previous day highs have them marked out, which is our 470 continuation in play above our 470 for a push up and towards our all-time highs and above. HPE had earnings in the after hours. This one's pushing up nicely in the pre-market as well. Key level is going to be just our after hours highs, plus we can mark out our pre-market lows. For this one, we'd just like to see maintain above 58, continuation up and towards our 64. Really, there hasn't been too many day one earnings plays for any tickers as of recent. A lot of them have moved later after day number one, maybe day after day number two or day number three. So, not expecting too much to happen today. That's basically been the overall theme, right? Even Marvel had some news in the even had some news. Sorry, this one had some news in the pre-market, but you can see a lot of these ones have been moving after earnings, right? You can see like an after earnings consolidation, and then this one ended up having nice buyers that stepped in, made a brand new all-time highs yesterday. As you can see, gapping up here in the pre-market. But similar thing, right? A lot of these ones haven't really moved too much after earnings, or at least the day of earnings, or sorry, the day after earnings, but they've moved a few days after earnings. So a lot of these ones, similar thing, right? Keep an eye out on now, right? HPE, if we can consolidate for the first day, right? Keep an eye out on HPE tomorrow for continuation higher, right? If you're looking to buy the dip, right, you can look for it later into the session, or you can look for potential buying opportunities tomorrow or the day after. ARM continue to show some strength here after this nice daily breakout, right after earnings as well. This one, nice gap up, continuation. Key level is going to be that previous day highs that we can have marked out. That's going to be the key level. We also have our 411. If we do want to see continuation now, maintain above this for a push up in towards our previous day highs and above. All right. That's going to be, what are these green markers? Sometimes things to keep an eye out for, but I'll kind of have these green markers set for some of the watches that we'll have coming to market open. But yeah, coming into today, really the game plan for the overall markets, same game plan almost every single day. Just look for key levels to hold for continuation towards the upside. So in this case today, 471 is going to be key for the SPY. Key level is going to be this 570, sorry, 758 for continuation towards the upside. Some of the main watches coming to market open, Nvidia, right? Continuation from yesterday. So we talked about that break and retest and a potential flip on Nvidia. Now nice buyers are stepping in. Let's keep an eye on Nvidia above our 226. We could see a little bit of a bigger drop down and towards that previous day highs, maintain above that previous day highs, continuation back towards the upside here is in play as well. So Nvidia is one of my main watch coming to market open. If we're looking at the rest of the Mag 7, I'm going to be a little bit more patient on these ones. And then there's a couple other ones you can keep an eye out on. AVGO for continuation. This one does have earnings tomorrow, so I'd be a little bit more patient on this ticker, right? Palantir, we'll keep an eye out on Palantir today. The reclaim back above that previous day lows for a push towards the upside. Other names that I like here, MU continuation. This one has just been continuing higher. Every dip has been bought up. Intel, I'm somewhat interested on Intel here, not as much as like a day trade, but more so like a longer term day trade or even a swing potentially. If we can see some buyers stepping in off this like 104, potential double bottom here on the daily chart is in play on Intel, right? This is a very key spot for buyers, right? This is basically our higher low here on the daily. This level I'd like to see be defended here. If we have a weak candle closure, then of course, that would be invalidated and we'd be a little bit more cautious now on Intel. But if you can see buyers stepping off that 105, still bullish for continuation. Other names that look good, right? Keep an eye on like CRWV, starting to show some buyers here as well above our previous day highs. So keep an eye out on that. This one does have room back up in towards our 138 here on the higher time frame. So CRWV looks good on the hourly. Plus, this is our earnings, right? Earnings reclaim, right? Another earnings reversal type trade. Next level is going to be that 140 here. Earnings high plus that 140. So CRWV, I do like this one. Previous day high retest for continuation. But yeah, that's most likely going to be it for me today. Marvel, you can expect some continuation on this one here. MBIS continue to push higher. Every dip so far has been bought up on this one as well. Right, previous day highs is going to be key. Keep an eye out on that 270 for continuation. And then we have other couple tickers that are moving up nicely here. Yeah, coming into market open, keep an eye out on Nvidia. That's going to be one of the main ones for continuation. We have CRWV, MU looks good. AVGO has earnings coming up. As for the rest of the tickers, we're going to be a little bit more patient on. There's nothing that's really been setting up, right? Things like Meta, Microsoft had a nice push, but now Google's pulling back. So you just want to be a little bit more patient on a couple of these Mag 7 names. These ones are pulling back while the markets are still holding up nicely. But yeah, with that being said, we'll focus on some of the ones that I mentioned earlier today. We're just going to continue to look for names with strength, right? Don't try and buy dips, or don't try and, right, if you're trying to buy a dip, it might take a long time to bounce. If you're trading momentum, you're trading names with clear higher time frame relative strength, and those ones you can expect to have continuation right off the bat. Like something like a Meta or even like a Microsoft, right? It's more better for like long term, right? You would have had to hold through like a month's worth of consolidation before this breakout, right? Meta, similar thing, right? If you're buying the dip, it might take a lot longer, or even like something like Netflix, right? It probably doesn't make too much sense unless you're buying shares and you have a 1 to 2 year or even a longer term outlook. If you want to trade momentum, right, you want to be trading names with higher time frame setup, something like now Nvidia, right, setting up very nicely here on the weekly. Let's see if we can get that push back up and towards the all-time highs. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.